Hello, my name is Gene Jordan. I'm a math professional development specialist here at Broome Targabosis, part of the Professional Development and Resource Center here. I'll give my contact information at the end, but I'll be giving you a brief overview of the Grade 4 Module 1. So if you're a 4th grade teacher here in New York State, this could be of interest to you. I will do my best, but I am far from perfect video caster, but I am learning. So, to prepare the modules is why I'm doing this, to give you an idea of the crucial components within the module and how to differentiate them as necessary. These are the things that I would like to do, but I can't do with you, that were done at the Network Team Institute in Albany in July. Every few months they have those during these Common Core transition years. And study the progression documents is always an important thing. It gives you some background. It's heavily detailed and lengthy, so it's a bit time consuming. And we won't be doing that during the video. You should always, though, I believe, look at the module overview and assessments before you start teaching, as well as, of course, exploring first a few lessons. And nothing is better than actually teaching the module to become better at teaching the module. It does make sense once you start. Grade 4, we look at a variety of modules of different sizes. You have the first module knocking out in 25 days, and then a quick 7-day unit conversion module. I will only be covering really topic 1, module 1, not topic 1. But you'll find that once you do module 1 and unpack that, you will have very similar structure to the remaining modules. Grade 4, last 25 days, you'll see only 19 days of lessons. The 19 days of lessons are combined with the assessment to give us the 25 days. You'll also notice the topics, different lengths. You might want to consider now, before you start teaching, where would be a good point to have a quiz. And I would think there's nothing wrong with combining topics like A and B and having a quiz or some sort of formative or summative assessment after different topics, just to see how the kids are doing. If you look at the overview, you'll see many things that will help you teach it. The components. Things I would encourage you to look at more detail later are the scaffolds. Let's actually look at a specific unit. Let's look apart at several different lessons at their 4 main components, which is the fluency, application, concept development, and student debrief. The terminology that they'll use within the lessons are listed here. It's a good idea to make sure your kids, whatever strategy you use with terminology in your classroom, to tackle these before you see them in the lesson concept development section, so that the kids can use the language that are already given. This is crucial that I'm about to highlight for the transition years. When I work with teachers, I think it's a great idea to highlight these terms and find the ones that your students are expected to know but they don't know, the terms that are expected to be familiar, because in past modules they would have already had those. But of course, this is usually the teacher's first year teaching modules, so they won't or may not have ever heard of any of these terms. And I'm thinking right now, things like tape diagram is an issue that a lot of teachers or students may have just begun to teaching this year, where a number line is something that you're teaching and students are very familiar with. Looking more closely at fluency, you'll see 3, for example, on this day's lesson, 3 fluency activities: multiply by 4 sprint, use skip counting, unit skip counting, and place value work. And they usually guide you pretty well, giving you 10 minutes of a sprint. We'll get to more sprints information in a second. The key thing with fluency is identify, you have choices. So using that, if you don't prefer what they are giving you, you need to decide why and how to do the fluency, because fluency is a daily component of module instruction. Keep in mind that it can be reviewing a subject or concept, or building towards a future lesson. Here is what the sprints are. They look like a pretty straightforward fact sheet. There are some components to the sprint that are pretty powerful. One is that they're usually built, most of Bill Davidson sprints I've seen are built around quadrants with an easy section, a medium section, and a hard section. The middle sections are usually progressively more difficult as you go down. The above grade level work at the very end, no students should be completing, but the advice I usually hear is the first quadrant most students should complete, the first 11. And if they're not, let's change up the sprint. The next time you might want to consider a lower grade level or an easier sprint. You want some success but no one to finish. There's also pattern sheets, which are much more similar to FACT worksheets that we're all familiar with. They usually follow obviously a pattern though. The concept development, let's take a look at lesson 6. You'll see the use of the place value charts as well as the script. It's important to remind yourself that the script is not there for you to read. We've been given sprints with textbooks forever. So let's not consider this telling you what to do. It's giving you an optional type of way you can question the kids and draw out certain kind of responses that you're looking for. So use a sprint very much like you would if you're watching a teacher video. Gives you an example of how to teach the lesson. No one expects you to do it verbatim. The problem sets that are included every day tail into the concept development and help them practice that individually. There's no reason you can't help them with that work, of course, as you're going around the room. Usually about 10 minutes is given to those, and those students who are working on the problem sets may struggle, and you may have time issues. If you do have time issues, keep in mind the people who wrote the modules are very clear about you choose the problems that are most important. Sometimes they give you recommendations about the choices. At the end of the debrief, there's a 2-minute exit ticket, a problem that they're expected to solve. Sometimes it seems lengthier than 2 minutes, and they give you a little more time or less, or a little more time than 2. But it's important that you have the kids show you, they know what you taught them that day. And if they don't, it's a great way to formatively assess the students so you know where your instruction could take off tomorrow. In addition to daily concept development problem sets, you'll see homeworks as well that usually match up pretty well. This is from lesson 16, so it doesn't match the one I showed you, but I wanted to show you a progression of the topics. You notice the difficulty here. They're all word problems. They're all dealing with difficult numbers, and they have only white space with no math structures provided. Within the modules, you'll have different templates like place value charts. Some the students are expected to make in 4th grade. Some you might want to provide the students the template to begin with, like behind a whiteboard. Just want you to be aware that they're there and they're probably useful to use. Within the modules, there's a pretty nice progression of complexity through both the lessons and the module themselves. You'll see sometimes they get to the level of complexity that may be too great for your students. That is when you need to use, to me, your professional judgment and adapt it to best fit. At the end of the module, you'll see an assessment piece, and you'll see the assessment piece has usually at some point a component of student explanations and word explanation as well as short answers or constructed responses. The implementation is not going to be easy the first year. It's fairly large documents that create paper issues, but it also is difficult and rigorous concepts. So it's not going to be easy, but there will be many questions that you might have. And if you have a lot, feel free to contact me or your administrator or other teachers who are teaching the modules. That's probably the single best resource you can have this year. You can look at the instruction and which your students struggle with things. These are great questions to ask them. If you have questions for me, you feel free to email me. Like I said, check my website. But also, I wanted to link to you the where I got these slides and modified them from Network Team Institute from Common Core Incorporated. You can go there and find the larger version of all the materials that I used today. I did edit and add some slides for clarity and for time. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.